We are live.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is August 14th, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m. We will call the special meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can I get a motion to approve, or is there any amending the agenda for this evening?
I'll approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried to approve the agenda as written. Police hiring. So A, pay increase. Since the resignations have been handed in by our police department, it has been recommended by our city attorney that at this point we need to pursue our other options. So at this point, there's no reason to really talk about pay increases since we no longer have a police force. So with that being said, I have been in contact with Goodhue County Sheriff's Department. I have a meeting with them on Wednesday at 9 o'clock scheduled, if that is the direction that the council wants us to go. So meeting with them at 9 o'clock, that would be Sheriff Marty Kelly and John Hunnicky as well. I want to reiterate that we will have police coverage in the city of Goodhue. That is not an issue. We have been reassured that Josh is working with John Hunnicky on all the cases, the evidence, everything has been handed over. They're moving in that direction and the transition will be very smooth, John said. I had a conversation with John Hunnicky this morning and on Friday as well. So all of the current cases that are being prosecuted will be handed over to Goodhue County and they will be taking over those cases as well. He reassured us that there will always be coverage in the city of Goodhue. Okay? That is not an issue. So
What does that mean?
that means that they will be responding to calls. Now keep in mind that Josh and Anthony are still here until employed until August 24th, along with the other part-time officers. So we have a full department until August 24th. At that time, that transition will occur. Now the question is what does that look like for us as a department, as a city? How do we want to move forward with that? Okay. So you'll note in your packet, John has sent over a contract to give us an idea of what Wanamingo has set forth in their contracts with the county as well. Now granted, he said there is, there will be coverage. It just depends on what kind of coverage that we want and what we're looking for in the interim. If you'll notice that in the packet that it's stated that Wanamingo has they go on a 2-year contract, so they go through 2024. So it's important that we look at that and then we try to come up with an idea of what's going to be good in the interim for Goodhue. We have to figure out what we can do now. The League of Minnesota Cities has contacted us. Jill has been in contact with a Chris Smith, and I had a conversation with him today as well. So he's giving us some information about how to move this process and also information that the League of Minnesota Cities has. They've worked with communities that this has happened before. We're not the first, and we won't be the last. They reassured us of that. And so this is not unusual, it does happen. But he said, we will move forward with this. What we can look at is, we wanna look at, this is not a done deal of not restructuring our city police force. We look at the interim, but then we're looking forward to how can we rebuild. John Haneke gave me information today. He said, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not gonna be easy, but it can be done. And he said, as we pull and get more officers, it's gonna be an uphill battle. There are 202 openings right now in the state of Minnesota for police officers. So it can be done, but it's gonna take some time. And I think we all anticipate that.
But then we have to talk about a pay increase, right?
Correct. And that's what,
I mean, that's
yes,
the whole deal,
and Bob
part of it.
had also recommended, he said, yes, you can, look at that. That should be one of the first things that you're gonna do, is really look at that, evaluate. You can get some information from the League of Minnesota Cities. They're gonna help us do that. So we can look at that to make ourselves more marketable. Okay, so, unfortunately, that's what this meeting was about tonight. It was about looking at those pay increases. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And so I think that, I don't think that's any direction that the council wanted to go, but that's, what happened on Friday morning. So now we need to move forward with that. Okay? Questions, council?
So I think we need to start discussing at our next work meetings that, or whenever, the increase in pay and where we want to go with that, regardless whether we seek our own police department, which, I can probably speak for everybody that, they provided excellent safety and security to our community. And the small town policing that they did, we want that back. We want it back. As much as I like Goodhue County, I think that we're gonna have to really start looking at, getting and restructuring this police department and, going that route than any other route.
I guess I feel the same way. That the being personable in the community makes a big difference for the city, for the kids, for everybody. And so I hope that we can continue on this and see if it's possible to get a chief in place.
And I think that would be the ultimate goal for the city.
Right.
We want what's best for our community. It's just now how can we've got to get back, we've got to restructure, like Chris said, and move forward. So that's important. Okay?
We need to make sure that we're very competitive, with the pay because, like Chief Smith said, nobody wants to come in at that rate.
Right.
And, we can compare apples to apples and, but regardless, it's, a welder down here is gonna make the same amount of money being a welder in the cities and, it's not gonna be too far off. They deserve everything that they get and, nobody's gonna come put their life on the line for a very low rate.
And I think those are all points that, we'll need to really look at and consider when we start restructuring this. Okay? Right. So the other thing, I guess, at this point is, so we would need to decide ultimately, what we would like to do is have something, definitely, we have to have something in place by August 23rd. We have our next meeting August 23rd, so that we can move forward and have coverage. And so, the first thing I need to know is the council okay with giving me permission to go visit with Police Chief Marty Kelly and
Yeah.
John Haneke?
I think that, we would all probably agree to that fact, but I think we need to talk about hours of coverage that we want. And I think maybe, looking at the contract that Winnemingo had, they had like 7 hours, 7.5 hours. I think if we went with 16, something like that, give us pretty good coverage in the interim. And it'd be pretty close to our budget too, for what they got stated for the price here.
You said 16 hours a day?
Yeah,
I think that sounds good too, to have that many hours. I mean, anything less than that,
I think we need at least that.
See what we can get. The county also reassured us that, we are geographically located, because of where we are. We're in a good position that they're gonna be able to help us out, so that's important. Plus the fact that we live right on 58, and we have state troopers who go by quite frequently, so, they have been discussing this at the county. They have talked about it at length already. So Josh has been very good about communicating with them too as well. So that's good. So I think that's a positive for us.
So just running the numbers based off what Joe was saying, at the rate that we're in right now of the 5583 at 112 hours for 52 weeks, it's about $325,000.
How do you get they got 121,000 for 2023 as they're designated for them.
$55.83 per hour times 42 hours. 42 hours at 7 hours a day, 6 days a week. Us is 112 hours. If you take if you take the 16 times 7, that's 112 hours a week. 112 hours times 5583 times 52 weeks is $325,000.
that sounds about right. So we want 16 hours a day times 7. 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you say 112 hours? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
7 days a week.
Yeah, that's 7 days a week, yes. So that's 325,000. No, that's
Oh, I
right.
looked at that around there.
So you take
Yeah.
16 times 7 days a week, it's 112. 112 times 55.83 equals that. Take that times 52. That's what we're looking at.
That's well over the budget.
So we have to definitely stay within our budget.
So I think, I agree with Joe. I think, we could probably talk with the county on Wednesday and kind of get an idea of what they have. We're still gonna have coverage regardless,
Right.
after the 24th. They've assured us that, but I think that we need to make it a priority to go the next step and figure out how we can get our police department back, or, because that's what they were providing. They were providing, roughly 16 hours a day in coverage. So I think that to stay on track with budget, we should probably look at that. And figure out a new pay rate for both and see if we can still keep it under.
Chris, are you available on Wednesday? At 9
Yes.
o'clock?
I am.
Would you like to go along? I think it would be beneficial to have two people there.
Yep.
To go?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll go.
Because I know Jason, you're busy
Yeah.
during the day,
Yeah.
so. Okay, so let's plan on that.
Okay.
The law enforcement. Okay, and I think if we just really look and see what they can offer us.
Yep.
Too as well. Any other questions or comments at this point? No, if not, we could move on to C. And I would need a motion to accept the resignation of the Police Chief Smith, Officer Breck, and our part-time officers.
I'll make a motion to approve their resignation, or accept their resignation letters.
Get a second?
Is he the only one that has a written letter, is Josh? the other
I'll
one?
second.
They're all in there, they're
Oh,
back to
yeah.
back. Joe, did I hear second?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to accept the resignations of Officer Chief Smith, Officer Breck, and our part-time officers. Does any of the council have anything other to offer today? Any comments? Could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.